Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to FFTV with me, Francis Green, and we're going to do a quick one today, probably around about 30, maybe go to 40 minutes because we know we like to gab and we like to get into it. But first of all, appreciate everyone coming in this afternoon. I know there's a lot going on in YouTube. I know the weather can obviously make people a little bit uncomfortable. And also, I know that you are probably busy with work, family, etc. But if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe. You really do appreciate it. Please share it because it helps the algorithm and it helps us to get more followers and more people to subscribe when we share this video. So it's the same stories going on in and around the media at the moment, especially for Arsenal. We'll touch on Arsenal as always, but it's the same merry-go-round at the moment. Chelsea trying to push Haaland. Haaland's too expensive. Kane, Daniel Levy, Man City, now they've gone quiet. Grealish. It's all to sign new contracts or get clubs more money. It's a business. That's how the business goes. But today, obviously, you can tell by the thumbnail, the news with Henderson and Pogba seems to have taken a little bit of a twist. Now, we'll get into both of what I think about both. And obviously, put your comments, what you think about, etc., what's going on. And we'll just go straight into the meat and veg. And we'll just go straight into it. First of all, let's speak about Henderson. So Henderson has been magnificent. He's surprised everyone, including myself. For Liverpool, he's been a completely different player for Klopp. He's now in his final 2 years of his contract. Now, it's crazy. It's crazy the way football works nowadays. It really, really is crazy that you've got 2 years left at a job, and now people start panicking and want to try and get negotiations done, because they don't want players going into their final year of the contract, because that's when players can hold them to ransom and when they can't really sell them for a fee. So at the moment, you've got Liverpool and you've got Henderson. Henderson's got 2 years left. Liverpool will be thinking, don't want to renew his contract really yet, but can we afford to let him go for free in 2 years? Now, Henderson's 31, I think. So if he does leave in 2 years for free, he's done a great service for Liverpool. Liverpool have brought him for cheap. He's been magnificent for Liverpool. Would they see that as bad business? I would see that as great business for them. However, is he going to play every single game? Is he going to be a huge figure like he has been in previous seasons this season? Or does Klopp see a different direction? If that's the case, because Henderson is pushing in his agent for a new deal. It's come out because they want a new deal. Let's be honest. They're pushing to try and get a new deal. And that's how the business works. But Liverpool don't really need to offer him anything new. He's 31. He's going to be 33 in a couple of years. He's got 2 years left on his deal. You either stay or you don't really. I know they probably think, he's a really important player, but he's going to want huge wages now, isn't he? He's going to want huge wages. England, you know what England's like? All of a sudden, a £40 million player now is 100 million. Declan Rice, Phillips. It's ridiculous. These players are not worth what people are putting in the newspaper. I can tell you that. That is not for sure. So for me now, PSG have been linked with both Pogba and Henderson. And as we're on Henderson, Pochettino likes his English players. PSG are trying to throw money out left, right, and center, but they have an issue at the moment with Leonardo, sporting director, etc. They have to release funds, so they have to get rid of quite a lot of players. But we'll go more in depth for that when we get onto the Pogba situation. But as for Henderson, for me, I think if he goes PSG, it's a great move for him. Will Liverpool miss him? Yes, I think they will. His professionalism, his enthusiasm, his leadership around. Is he going to play as many games this year for Klopp as he has done in previous season? I think Klopp needs to have a revamp and a rejig of what's going to go on, because he needs to get to the level where they were 2-3 seasons ago. So I think from my point of view, Henderson, I just think it's paper talk. I really do, to try and push Liverpool into a corner to make sure that Liverpool offer him a new deal, and then he's secure until retirement. So that's what I think is happening with Henderson. So I'm going to go into the chat, the lovely people in the chat. Hope you are all well. Seeing a few of you just popped on to Curtis's as well. So Ashton, first message, thank for popping in. He's put, I think Paul Pogba will stay, especially if the player like Varane comes in. Like, why would you leave if world-class centre-back could be the only difference between going from pretenders to contenders? Good point. But Pogba thinks about money and social media. He's not exactly a player who will roll his sleeves up and you want in the trenches. He's not that type of player. So he may look at Varane and say, listen, Varane's here. I want to stay here, but he's French. He loves Paris. I think he's from Paris. They're going to pay him an absolute bucket load of money. So for me, I think if Man United agree to sell him, then I think he'll go. I think he'll go. And I think that's why it's hotting up a minute, because Man United are looking at thinking, wait a minute, we could get probably 50 million for Pogba, or he's going to leave for free next year, or he's going to want 400k for another 4 years. It's bad business if you give him 400k for 4 years, in my opinion. It's bad business because you're rewarding a player who's not produced. That's my argument with Pogba. You're rewarding a player who's not produced. When we had Mesut Ozil, he was one of the best number 10s in and around the world, creative players. We gave him the money, and then all of a sudden things changed. The way he was playing changed. Sanchez went. Everything changed. But Pogba don't deserve that type of money, in my opinion, Ashton. Devan, big up Devan, big up Ashton. Devan's also put, would you rather Arsenal sign Aouar or Maddison? Probably Maddison, because we need something else, creativity, and then I'd go for Ruben Neves. Chris has put, surprised by Henderson to PSG, thought he would stay at Liverpool or maybe end his career at the Northeast. Yeah, it's probably just paper talk, to be honest, Chris. And by the way, Chris, thanks ever so much for what you sent me earlier. Have a little look, whether it'll go in with the theme of the channel, but it's something, love the lyrics, and it's something that I'll probably keep, and I'll let you know if I ever use it, but we'll have a further chat away from here. But love the effort and spot on from you, Chris. But I think it's just paper talk. I really do. I think the PSG, I can tell you from experience, and this is how it is. I've had players before when I was an agent, and we would just leak something to the paper that I had a client and we said Arsenal was interested in him because we knew Liverpool, Everton, and Man United were interested in him. So we just put Arsenal in there, and it was all, is he going Arsenal? Is he going Arsenal? And I'm like, yeah, they're interested. Arsenal never even shown any interest in the player. And it was just to make sure that the other clubs up their offer, up the money, and would pay the fee to his parent club at the time. So nearly all of it, as you've seen by the amount of videos and the amount of notifications you see on YouTube about people going here, there, and everywhere, just hearsay, it's just paper talk. And we try and get down to the nitty-gritty of why people might go. Now, certain stories don't go away because, as you know, no smoke without fire. But the ones that come in and they're not realistic, a lot of the time, they're just paper talk. So I think this one is paper talk to get Liverpool to offer him a new contract. But we could be wrong. You know, we're not in there. We're not in the environment. We don't exactly know what is happening, because you do see sometimes transfers happen out of the blue. So you never know. You really, really don't know. Josh has put big up to yourself, Josh, to senior on Kurtz. Josh has also put, I'm totally shocked with Henderson going PSG. I know. Listen, it's very early, and I'm not sure that one is going to happen. But like I said, I think it may be just paper talk, but you don't know. Craig, what's happening, mate? Hope you are well. Hello, Fran. Is it true Aouar has agreed terms to join Arsenal? Now, I did see that. Listen, I think you can get for about 25 to 26 million. We know he's a very good player. We know his parent club want to sell. They need the money. The funny situation that you've got in football at the minute now is everyone wants to sell their players for high, and no one's got no money. So at the minute, the market's quite dead because there's no one meeting in the middle, because people are desperate for money. COVID has really, really hit the finances of even the big hitters. And then people want to make as much money as they can to hold on to their assets. And that's why you're seeing a lot of stalling. And also, That's why you're seeing a lot of maybe the second choice players getting moves. You know, Awar for 20, 25 million for me is a bargain. You know, Renato Sanchez is available. I know he gets injured. Pereira at West Brom is, I would have snapped. He's the first signing that I would have got at Arsenal. Pereira at West Brom. Yanni's put, hey, Fran, I actually believe that Henderson will stay. Pogba seems natural to leave. Yeah, I think for me, it looks more natural that Pogba is the one that's probably going to try and push that one through. Ash's put, PSG finance are unbelievable tight at Liverpool. PSG, what man? FSG's, sorry. Finances are unbelievable tight at Liverpool. I think Salah might be the only player earning over 200K. That interesting, that is. Yeah, interesting. You thought, but that obviously that the players are going to start wanting to move because they're going to want more money than that. Josh has put, with Liverpool linked to Sal, they may not go all out to keep him. Very true. Yanni's also put, I'm surprised how similar we think. Hey, listen, great minds are like, eh? Josh is also, I think he's saying to Ashton, I think PSG have more chances of winning League 1 than United are winning the title over here. Yeah, he's from France, isn't he? Yeah, true. He's only linked. Jackson De Silva, thanks for popping in. He has put, I really listen to tubers because most have biased opinion, but you know your stuff, big up. Hey, always love the compliments. We try and make it unbiased. Obviously, being a former player, agent, etc., it gives me the knowledge to be unbiased and not as emotional and trying to be blindsided. So thanks for the compliment. He's not going to notice. Thank you. Chris has also put, I think Arteta wants Locatelli, but we'll go for Awar. If Locatelli signs for Juve, that seems more likely. Well, it seems like at the moment that you're going to have to go for 2, 3, 4 targets, because what happens is, you probably know, 1 minute you're signing someone, next minute you don't. I was just nipped on Curtis's channel and was on about the Ben White situation at the moment. Now, Ben White is getting he's either a company, as you know, when you're abroad, you can have these companies that sort you out jets to get where you need to get to if it's an emergency. He's obviously got a catered, a chartered jet through this company to get back to London very, very quickly to get the paperwork signed. And I was saying a couple of stories where I was with players and we was in the Premier League lobby to sign. We got a call, got up, walked out and went to another club and signed there. We was in the car halfway to a Premier League club. Everything's done, everything's agreed. We got a call in the car. We turned around and drove 2 hours the opposite way and went and signed, and the other club was still waiting for us. It's just business. So until Ben White signs that deal, you know, it's not done. And that's why clubs want to go for 2, 3, 4 options. And that's why I see a lot of links and Fabrizio Romano stating the obvious nearly every time with what's going on and etc. until we know what's happening. Because you can't just chase one target. You need to chase 4 targets. So I think Locatelli is probably Arteta's main one. Awar is high on his list. Maddison, I think, might be priced out of it, but it would be a good one. Ruben Neves, for example, has gone quiet when that one looked like really, really hot. And it seems to me that it's only the fans or people that play FIFA that want Basuma, because the club don't want him and I don't want him. So, you know, there's so many different elements of why managers want certain players, and that's why they're targeting so many midfielders. So we'll go for a quick few of these, and then I'll pop on to the Pogba one. So Josh has put, we need to wrap up Awar and then see if we can get Locatelli afterwards, despite the fact that he's said he doesn't want to come. I would definitely concentrate on Awar, Ruben Neves, and if Locatelli comes, he comes. Right, so Henderson. I can't see it happening, but you never know. Now, one I can see happening, and I think you all will agree. Pogba to PSG will not go away. We all know Mino Raiola is his agent. We all know how he works, especially me firsthand, having to deal with him before. We all know what Pogba's like as a player. Chase the coin, social media, have a little dance, wants to be the man about town, okay? In Paris, he will be the man about town. I think there's a football court, basketball court called the Pogba playing pitch. It's perfect for him. Absolutely perfect for Paul Pogba to go to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, Man United are going to, if they don't do this right, are going to get bamboozled twice. He went for free. They then brought him back for something like 90 million, put him on mad money. And then now he's going to hold them to ransom again. Now, Man United, If Alex Ferguson was there, this doesn't happen. Yeah, this doesn't happen if Alex Ferguson is at Man United. This nonsense with Pogba. Alex Ferguson tells you straight. Like, that's why I went in the first place. You're not good enough to play for the first team at the moment. Go and make sure you go and play somewhere else, and then we'll see whether you're good enough. United then brought him back. And for me, I thought it was a big mistake that they brought him back. Worst 90 million I've seen spent on a player. Producers once in a blue moon. And in social media, shirt selling player. That's my opinion. Okay. Some people love him. I think as a person, I don't really know him, but he seems a nice guy. He seems down to earth, etc. when it comes to being humble, but he loves all the other stuff, and which is nothing wrong with loving all the other stuff if you're producing on the football pitch, and you, kid, are not producing on a football pitch. So if I'm Man United, I'm saying, you know what? We can get 50 million for him. We free up 250, 300 grand a week. Get rid of him and get someone else in who's going to give more to this club. They have to get rid of him. If he stays and they give him a new contract, and it's going to be a mega contract, he's set up anyway for the rest of his life, but he's probably set up to retirement more than likely. If you think he's lazy now, he's going to be hell of a lazy if you double his money and put him on a 4 or 5 year deal at United. So that's a big no-no from a business point of view, from my point of view, if I'm running the ship. So send him to PSG and let him go, and huge part of wages, rather than regretting it and trying to keep him and regretting it. However, I know they make a lot of money through shirt sales. They make a lot of money through sponsorships, etc. So I don't actually know the ins and outs of how the finances are broken down, outgoings, incomings, etc. Stumbling block. PSG will not be able to afford him unless they get rid of a lot of their players. Now, we know that they've done a lot of business already, and it's still like they're chasing other players at the moment. However, they've got a couple of free transfers. I think they got three free transfers. So they've not actually spent a lot of money, but wages-wise, it's going to be big money. And they're already dealing with Mino, because obviously Donnarumma's gone there, and I think he looks after Donnarumma as well. So just going to share this, what was obviously put on earlier. There we are. So we have here, I'm not sure, can you see that? Let me get rid, I'll tell you what, let me get rid of that for now. Here you are. You can probably, hopefully you can see that better now. So as you can see here, this is obviously of La Equipe. Paul Pogba, PSG moves now rest with Leonardo's ability to sell players. He says, after the free transfers of Wijnaldum, Ramos, and Donnarumma, as well as a 60 million arrival, obviously Hakimi, today's eclipse reiterates that PSG need to sell a sizable chunk of their squad if they want to finance further signings. The Sports Daily reports that professional squad of nearly 40 players, so most squads have around about 35 to 40 players, need to cut to at least 25, while in turn recouping a total of 180 million in fees. So they need to sell 15 players and try and recoup 180 million in fees. A figure that was proposed to France's famously strict financial watchdog, the DNCG, last week, in an attempt to compensate for a deficit of between 250 and 300 million. So they need to clear some debts. As a result of that, a move for Paul Pogba and seemingly Eduardo Camavinga, which I didn't know that was obviously chasing him as much as that, would rely on sporting directors Leonardo's ability to sell players quickly and efficiently, something which has been far from his strong suit as sporting director since returning to the club in 2019. Nevertheless, a seemingly very achievable amount of around 50 million may be enough to secure Pogba's services. So basically what they're saying is they need to get rid of 15 players or whatever to try and recuperate 180 million, and then they might be able to get Paul Pogba. That's not going to happen in this transfer window, is it? Unless someone somewhere can offset a certain amount of money, you know? So I think, do Man United hold out and see what happens over the next 3 or 4 months, or do they buckle under the pressure from Mino, etc., and say, right, well, we can't afford to lose him for free next year. No one wants to pay 50 million for him now. We've got to tie him up. Interesting, because sometimes teams will tie you up and then they'll have a buyout clause in that contract and say, well, if PSG do come in for you for 50 million, we can then get rid of you. You know? Interesting. Interesting when it comes to that. Let me have a look where we are. So Chris has put, we need to employ Carleone, approach your business, make players offers that they can't refuse. I think the problem at Arsenal, we just don't have the funds. Are you going to big up France? Sorry, I'm late. No problem. No problem. Just coming in, hitting the like is more than enough. Are you gonna? Ashton's put, Mino Raiola might tell Pogba to stay at United this season and then leave on a free so that he can get a big agent fee. That's exactly what he will be saying. I can guarantee that. Exactly what he'll be saying. Definitely. Ashton's put, I can't see both Pogba and Donny van de Beek leaving this summer, which is why I think Pogba will stay. Yeah, I think when it comes to these deals, the finances are so important and they have to be broken down to the penny with taxes, with everything, that it's very complicated to get deals done. That's why the Jadon Sancho paperwork is taken so long, because it has to be broken down into so many different sectors, so many different sections, etc. So many different lawyers are involved, and you're going back and forth and back and forth. That's the problem. Akunamota's put, you as an agent, what do you think about Raiola? I had to speak with him once. He was very rude, very, very arrogant. The only reason people deal with him is because he gets the best players through financial ways and gets the best players the best deals. But far from that, how can I put it? Put it nicely. Hey, let me put it in the right way, the way I believe things are now, yeah? He has his way of living. I have my way of living. And they're worlds apart in morally and as a human being. So that's the best that I can put it. But no one's right or no one's wrong. That's the best way that I can put that. All you're going to put, knowing Man United lack of transfer IQ, Pogba will leave on a free. Yeah, I think that could be the case. Pogba going PSG, no shockers. United is dead like Arsenal 2015. Pogba wants trophies. United are interested in top 4. Yeah, well, yeah, I know what you're saying, but Pogba was very lucky to get trophies the way that he plays. Chris has put to Josh, don't think Kroenke would sanction both players. Be good if we did, but doubt it. White is going to cost 50 mil. We need to keep her and a top striker as Abre's off form. I don't think we're desperate for a striker, as in a big striker. Maybe someone who's going to cause Lacazette and Aubameyang to start having to think about it. But I think Aubameyang will find form. I really do. You don't turn that bad overnight. I think he'll find form. Josh puts, Chris, I agree. Don't even know why we're still on Locatelli. I think something's going on behind the scenes in it. Judging by the friendly so far, Abbott isn't trying. He is trying, but he's just not at it yet. But like you say, it's pre-season. We always say best to get him out the window pre-season rather than the season. Jackson De Silva's put, what Arsenal have done to me, I haven't started to watch NFL, basketball, baseball more in my adopted country. Realized I was so invested in the club that performance used to drive my life. Yeah, one thing you can't write, even though I say football is life. I mean, the concept of football, the involvement in football, the things that we speak about, the things that we're interested is life, okay? But don't let it dictate your life. Don't get so emotionally attached to it that it will ruin your day, your time with your kids, your time with your family, your time as a human, because you're only here once. Each day is very important. And ultimately, as much as people don't like saying it, it is only a game. It brings things that other things can't bring. It brings an emotion. It brings a passion. It brings a feeling. It brings rewards other things can't bring. However, you've got to emotionally detach yourself from the things that are happening that you can't control. That's the best advice that I could give on that. Pogba goes on a free. The bag for Raiola at PSG is huge. Haaland, Pogba, Raiola looking retirement fund. Yeah, listen, Raiola makes ridiculous amounts of money with the way that he deals things. Even Tony ruffling feathers. Yep. I'm surprised he's not going to put a transfer request in or anything like that. We can have Balogun and Martelli has the other two striker options. Lacazette needs to be sold. Yeah, I just don't think they're going to be ready enough for the Premier League. Martinelli's injury prone. Balogun's nowhere near ready to be consistent. Now, we're talking about ESR being number 10. I'm like, you know what you have to do to earn a number 10 in football, especially when I was growing up. Number 10 is like the number. Like, and I think ESR is going to get the 10. You know, numbers don't really matter a lot of time. It's a psychological thing. Kuna Matadi, if you was agent for Chelsea player of Arsenal, who would you take? I mean, Kroenke is hard to deal with. If you was an agent for Chelsea player of Arsenal, who would you take? So if I was looking for Chelsea players, well, I'd have gone for Guy, who's just gone for Palace, solid centre-back. And I would have gone for Tomori, definitely, 100%. Yannis put, well, there's internal competition between the strikers, Martin and Balogun, and Nketiah also, if he stays a club. Nketiah shouldn't get nowhere near that first team. Yannis put, great advice, no problem. That's what we're here for. Yanni, competition is good. Chris, the trouble is your club is your tribe. It's very, very difficult to divorce yourself emotionally from your club. It's like your family. If your family's doing well, you feel good about your life. I get it. I really, really do get it, Chris. But there has to become a line where if it's ruining your weekend, which then affects you to be productive or ruins family life, then it's not positive, is it? You know? Guy, that's him. Yeah, I'd have definitely signed him. He's gone to Palace. Guahi, that's how you pronounce it. Guahi. There you go. Yeah. I love how people pick me up on the old pronunciations at times. Big up FFTV, hope you are well. Bang, bang. I am really well. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, we're only going to probably do around about 30 to 40 minutes. We've touched on the Pogba. We've touched on Henderson. We'll touch on quickly now, obviously, about Arsenal. So Aouar, Maddison, Neves, and Max Aarons seem to be the names that are high on the list or in the media. We don't know if Max Aarons is one of those where someone else has put it in, but for me, he's an absolute must. Neves, I would go for Neves, ball playing midfielder. Everyone's talking about Basuma. Basuma can't play ball. Basuma won't get the ball off Ben White, all of a sudden get it off the back foot and start spraying like a graffiti artist. Basuma don't have that. So my biggest problem is yeah, it's all right saying they'll be solid, but you've got Ben White. He's looking for someone who's going to pass to. Partey's okay on the ball, but he's not great. He's just a very good athlete and etc. And pops up every so often with something decent. So you need a ball-playing midfielder. And we don't have any. The way Arteta wants to play, we need a ball-playing midfielder. We've seen it last year. It's terrible. So I would go for Neves. Definitely wouldn't go for Basuma for me. And I would try and get Aouar or Maddison. And then if Locatelli wants to come, because we need to get all our signers for me in the middle of the park. If we get it right in the middle of the park, we sign 3 good players in the middle of the park. The rest then sorts itself out. And obviously we've got Ben White coming in, who's going to be the best ball-playing centre-half that we got. So you've got ball-playing centre-half. If you get Max Aarons in, very good on the ball. Then you've got Tierney and Gabby. And then you could have Neves and Partey with a Maddison or Aouar or ESR. And then you've got Saka, you've got Locatelli, you've got Lacazette, you've got Pepe, you've got Aubameyang, and you've got Balogun. Not bad. Top 4, no. 6, yeah, in my opinion. So that's what I would go for. But to get them in, I think it would be a great summer, but I just can't see it. I really just can't see it. What's happening, Wilson? I hope you well. Yeah, I'm staying safe, and I hope you are as well. Contrarian Carnage. I think Abry's still keen on Chelsea move behind the scenes. Still looks uninterested. Yeah, it's hard one with, I think there's a relationship problem. Would you take Ivan Toney all day? I'd have brought him first as a Lacazette replacement all day. He'll score more goals than Lacazette. He'll hold the ball up more than Lacazette, and he's a better player than Lacazette. And he's 6 years younger. Bellerin needs to get his ass out of here. Yeah, I think that's going. I think he'll be gone. Bang, bang. I have a feeling players these days tell journos like Fab if they're looking for a move. Aaron seems like that guy. Wasn't he linked to Barca too? To be fair, it's their agents that will speak to Fabrizio. But yeah, he was going. He was going. I think it was near enough a done deal. They couldn't agree on a fee. So Max Aarons will be gone. He's such a good player. Midfield is the biggest priority for Arsenal, to be honest. 100%. 100%. Partey looked good in Atletico Madrid with Sao Koke. Others not saying he ain't good, but he needs ball players around him. There's always an argument that players need better players around. They've always had this thing with Pogba, okay? But great players don't always necessarily need someone around them. And that's my argument when people say Pogba's a great player. Great players don't need spectacular players around them. They'll do bits with bang average players around them. So we know Partey is not world class. He's a good player. He's not world class. He does need players around him to help him out. 100%. He does need players around him. Sentiments put 9, 10, 8 on numbers for marquee ballers, not fresh kid from the academy. Small club thinking need to change that. Saka was very lucky to get the 7. Crazy. But ESR would have, but that's part of his contract. Bang Bang's put, I don't think Chelsea would take Abba. As a Chelsea fan, I think he's happy at Arsenal and the wage bill. He's happy with the wage. I don't know if he's happy at Arsenal. I know he's happy with the wage. Max Hines is absolutely brilliant going forward and sorry defending my opinion. Max Hines is very good. Very, very good. The reason a lot of people say all of a sudden, why have we got so many great right backs? They were probably all wingers and centre forwards. And it's easy to learn how to defend. It's not easy to learn how to put a ball in the back of the net. It's so easy to defend if you've got pace. So most right backs, the reason we've got a lot of right backs now is probably they were right wingers or centre forwards in the youth team. And they've ended up being right backs, you know, because defending is easy once, but scoring a goal is very, very hard, you know. I just put my major concerns are goalkeeper situation. Ramsdale is not our level. We might as well try for Afonso Areola from PSG. Yeah, I think they're looking. If Leno stays, they're looking second goalkeeper. I've seen Johnston as well. And these are English goalkeepers. They're in the England squad. So, you know, for second, cheap, you've got to think about the finances. It's all about the finances. Now, how much better is this goalkeeper at PSG than that goalkeeper at Sheffield United? How much better is it if they're both number 2s? Or is one playing regular? What's the wage difference? Is he going to cost extra 40 grand a week over a 4-year deal? You know, how often will I use him? All these things that you need to take into consideration. Wilson put, I believe that Arsenal need a defensive midfield like Basuma or Locatelli to allow Partey to move forward. Yeah, but then but Wilson, listen. If you have someone next to Partey so Partey can get forward, who's going to be the link-up man from our back to front? No one's good enough. Basuma definitely is not good enough. Locatelli maybe. Awar, but Neves is the one who you want to break lines. If Arteta wants to go the Man City way, which he does, he's going to need a ball-playing midfielder in midfield. So it's all right saying you get someone there for Partey to run around, but if we ain't got the ball, Partey can run around as much as he wants, you know? Jackson De Silva's also put, hope we don't sign Renato Sanchez. People don't realise he shows up every international tournament and then disappears. His hype is every 2 to 4 years. You have a great point. Good player, just not consistent enough. I would rather get Onana over Ramsdale all day long. Arsenal should stay the hell away from Ramsdale. I don't actually think Ramsdale is that bad, and I think he would be a good number 2, maybe not a good number 1. You have a good point about Neves, though. Oh, all day, all day. We need a ball-playing midfielder. I suppose it is a known fact that we didn't try to keep goalkeeper we sold. Yeah, well, we know what happened there, don't we? Yeah. Abba, in my opinion, is stressed. Paul last season not clicking Arteta system and getting help tactically or practically. He will need support more than criticism from the fans. Listen, this is a season. If you don't produce, he's going to get a lot of stick. He's going to get a lot of stick. If Abba's situation in a relationship was Arteta, who goes first? Does Arteta play to Abba's strengths? Listen, if the coach sees Abba as that big of a player, then he will. But if he doesn't, he'll just say, listen, I'm not playing that way. You're not the main man. And you got to, that's it. Get on with it. Ashton, it's very clear Arteta wants someone to link play with back to front, the way Jorginho operates at Chelsea. Perfect. And that's why he's looking at Neves and play people like this. Basuma ain't for me. He looked good in Brighton with their style of play. He looks good in Brighton. Brighton do move the ball quite well, I've got to be honest, right? But they're under the cosh a lot. So players like him and like Xhaka look good when you're under the cosh, you know? Kuna Matana's put, how many Champions League trophies do you think Arsenal will win in the next 20 years? 0. Absolute 0. 0. Can't see it. until Kroenkes go, we're then talking about another 5 or 6 year cycle, depending on who comes in. If a sugar daddy comes in, you've got a chance. But if a sugar daddy don't come in, you've got zero chance. You looked at Man City. They've come unstuck as well. Man City, the best team we've seen in England, probably forever. You've got the Invincibles, but it was a different style of play. But Man City are the best footballing team we've ever seen in British history, the way they play football. And they come unstuck against a dogged, resilient, kind of negative Chelsea team. It's a lot of luck. It really is a lot of luck. Jackson's also put, Arteta, in my opinion, will turn out a decent manager in the future with Arsenal or another club. However, we at Arsenal don't have have time, unfortunately, but he has some method to the madness. Yeah, you know what? I think he'll be a great manager or a good coach in the end, but he's just not going to have the time. He should have gone somewhere else first. Josh is obviously agreeing with sentiment. Chris has put, you never know. The Spuds got the Champions League final. Yeah, they did get to the final, but they didn't win it. Can't see us back in Champions League for another 5 to 10 years, unfortunately. Agreed. Sentiments, but I think Basuma is good enough. I would play in a pivot and to combat 8's alternative sitter. Yeah, you could play him that way. My only concern is he's in there to break things down and be a little bit dogged. And I don't want that at Arsenal. I want people to get on the ball and move the ball well and do triangles, break lines. I don't want someone who's just going to run around like a Declan Rice. And I don't want that type of player. And Basuma, for me, yeah, I'm not saying he's similar to Declan Rice, but he's okay. Ndidi at Leicester, he's okay, you know. Amaze put, today's football is all about quick transition from the defense to attack. We need quick players in the middle. I'd have to agree to a disagree. If you want to get from defense to attack very quickly, then you go the way I used to play, old school. You get it at the back, you actually center off to kick it forward and you blast it forward and then you flick it on. So, you know, you look at Spain, 3 centre midfielders who can't move, absolutely unbelievable in the Euros in midfield. So I think the Premier League is different, obviously. But for me, you just need people who can control the game. That's what you need. How did AFC get to the point where they are? Can you trace the start of the problem? Lack of investment just before Wenger left. That's where the problem started. Just locked in from work Zoom call. I hope Franny and the chat is going well. Thanks for popping in. Really do appreciate it. I'm only here probably for another 3 minutes. I'm going to only do 40 minutes today. Are you going to put? Do you think ESR is a 10 or an 8? I would give him an 8. I'm not a 10. I don't think he's done enough to deserve a 10. Almost a bit so with elevators, definitely. Almost enthusiasm, offensive energy, I love. And Sabitzer, very, very good on the ball, but they seem to just not be in any interest at the moment now. So they seem to have not be in the limelight, not in any reports, etc. So disappointing, really. A lot of players available. Why do some people not rate Aouar? I don't know. If you like football, then I'm surprised you don't like Aouar. Maybe because if they like Basuma, which Basuma is very different from Aouar. Great content as usual. Really do appreciate Wilson. Really do appreciate it. So yeah, that one we spoke about the Henderson. I think it's just to do with trying to get a new contract, but Liverpool don't want to be held to ransom. They've got 2 years left, so they're still in the driving seat. Pogba's situation is very, very different. He's trying to use Man United to get even more money and probably push the PSG one if he doesn't, because if he goes into his last year of his deal, they'll lose him for free. We all know what's going on at Arsenal. We've got a couple of decent additions, but we need the next level up now. We'll probably think we need 2 top quality players in now. We've got White, and I think White will do well. But we've got to be realistic. We're looking for 6 at best. I think we'll end up about 8th, 9th if we get the right signings in. But if we don't, I think we could end up 10th and below. But I just hope we can get the signings in. I really do. So I'll just read this one from Sentiment. He has put, better than Ndidi. Man knows where the final third is low. He can carry, beat his man, run with the ball, energy, definitely more attack-minded before his low block jail sentence at Brighton. Yes, not really seen him a lot before he came Brighton, so I can't really, elaborate on that. What I've seen at Brighton, I've not seen none of that at Brighton. I think he's a little bit better on the ball than Ndidi. I've got to agree, but he's not for me. He's not for me. He's really, really not for me, unfortunately. We'll watch from the beginning. Bless up. No problem, Darren. Really do appreciate it. Right. That is me, everybody. Again, thanks for your time. again popping in at 4 o'clock. Really do appreciate it. As I said, like I say, it's a little bit shorter, this one. Got a few things to do after. So again, make sure you stay safe. Make sure you keep improving every day, and I will see you all around tomorrow. You take care, and I'll see you soon. One last message. That guy D's popped in. Big up, friend. Big up to yourself, and I am out. See you later.